Good evening, Ghetto Fog Productions fans, music fans, Marshall amplification fans, my 7 subscribers. Now you're double checking my subscribers and finding that I have 8. I'm one of them, so I count 7. One of my favorite amps is Marshall. Most of my favorite music was recorded with a Marshall amp. Cream, Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, all those guys, Judas Priest, AC/DC, it's countless, it really is countless. I'm a fan of the sound, I'm a fan of the heritage. And, you know, even though the early Marshalls were based on Fender Bassman amps, read the history on that, it's pretty interesting. There's nothing like plugging in a Les Paul and standing in front of your Marshall full stack, 100 watts, 812s, and rattling the floor and your pants and your shirt and everything. It's just awesome. And occasionally pissing off the neighbors. I decided to do a video on my JCM 900 because there was some stuff about it I didn't care for. I played this amp out a bunch, played in an awesome band. But compared to my cousin's guitar in the band, mine didn't sound as good. And I did some research on it, and I found 3 points that I'd like to pass on to you guys. What's the biggest complaint with Marshall amplification? It sounds too thin. There's too much treble. It sounds like angry bees. It sounds like a chainsaw. That's my favorite one. Then there's the guy that just talks down about it and looks down on it because it's not what he uses. Part of the reason that the Marshall has a thin sound, if you like to use pedals, is what's called a diode clipping circuit, meaning they put an extra diode in to get more gain. If you wanted to buy a JCM 800, the articles I read said that they started on the 800s in the second part of the 80s. So if you don't want that, make sure and do the research and find out when they started doing that and buy an 800 prior to that. What the diode clipping circuit does, it makes the amp basically not get along with pedals if you run it through the front, right here. That's what I always did. I never used the effects lead. Maybe that was bad on me, but I just ran it through the front. And I used a high gain distortion pedal, and it created an issue with the amp. It didn't hurt it, but it just made the sound paper thin. So if that's what you're doing and you're not liking the results, that's probably why. If you were a fan of 90s heavy metal, 90s music, chances are if those guys went out and bought new gear, it was a JCM 900. They're also doing reissues now of the JCM 900, and they're $2,000. I don't know why. You can buy them on eBay for the originals like mine for like $500 or less. There's more than one kind of JCM 900. There's, I think, 4 different models. Some of them are 50 watt versions. Mine's 100. The model is 4100. And then there's, I believe, an SLX, which is supposed to be one of the top of the lines. I spent a bunch of money on distortion pedals when I was playing out, trying to match the sound that my cousin had. He was playing a Mesa Boogie 410. One of the biggest secrets was not buying a distortion pedal, but more going for an overdrive pedal. That's what I should have done. And he probably told me that. But with my mindset being, 25, 26 years old, that wasn't what I was into at the time. So I had to live and learn on my own. And what I found is there's a pretty awesome overdrive right here in this amp. Take your clean channel and turn the gain up all the way, and it will produce a really nice overdrive. The tone that you're going to get is going to be more treble, which you can roll off the treble. What you can do at that point is use channel A as your main rhythm. If you need something clean, back your volume off, clean it up that way. It cleans up well. And then when you wanted to do a solo, use channel B for your solo. That's what I would do, knowing what I know now. And chances are, when I bought this amp, I probably tried that. And I just wasn't ready for it, you know. You have to grow and evolve as a player and as a musician and find things out on your own. When you overdrive channel A, it's going to push your preamp tubes a little bit harder. So they're going to be getting a workout, but it sounds pretty awesome. The last thing I found out, it was in a forum, you can take a little jumper cable and place it in the effects loop on your amp, on your JTM 900, and it will take, well, the first thing you do with it is play with the effects loop volume knob on the back. Don't just turn it up all the way. I found it that when you dialed it up, it got louder and louder, and then when you went all the way past 12, it kind of backed off. So I put it at around 12. Now there's no numbers on it, so you gotta just do the best that you can. But listen for it, because to me it kind of took the Marshall sound and made it from a golf ball to a softball. You know, it just kind of made it bigger. I bought this amp brand new in 1998 or 99. This is a 98 stamped on the back. I'm the original owner. Nobody else has had it. It never let me down. I've lost a couple tubes. I blew one out the other day, but heck, they're probably 10 years old. When you're not playing out anymore, and I ended up going to Fender towards the last of playing out, trying to get away from the thin, trebly Marshall sound. Basically, when you're not making money with it, it just kind of sits. Take all these tips for what they're worth. It's all free information. Like I said, there's no right or wrong answer for amps. I like Marshall. I'm dying to get it back up and running.